Maverick 100.9 Aggie Lands Country Alternative. It's Corliss, joined by a gal that we ain't got to catch up with in a hot minute, maybe a year and a half, but Jordan Rayner is back. Hey, girl.
Good to see you.
It's great to see and catch up with you. And when I scheduled this interview, I did not realize how much we were going to have to catch up on. So,
I've been a busy woman.
Busy is an understatement, and but I'm just always happy to get new music from you. I love your soul, your attitude, and everything. And everybody listening on Maverick may know your name two different ways now. They may know you from our previous interview, or they may know you from The Voice now, which is so cool.
So freaking cool, man. Can you believe that?
I can and I can't in the same like mindset. Is that funny or what?
I feel the same way. Like it makes sense in one way because I'm good at what I do, but it's like, it's The Voice. It's Team Reba. What am I doing here? Well,
we're going to check in with Jordan on all the Voice details. You are going to get it here, I promise. But Jordan Rayner is still an independent artist, and that's what we support on Maverick. And you do have a brand new single out to Texas country radio called Straight Shot, which sounds just like Jordan Rayner to me. Tell me about the new single.
All right, so I wrote this with an artist named Kill Will and a producer named Brett Boyett. Now, Kill Will, he's a hip hop artist, okay? He's a handful. I mean, he is a straight shot if you've ever seen one. And so it was my first time really working with a hip hop artist. And so whenever I wrote with him, he had all his little gadgets and his keyboards and his MIDI boards, and he was building a track like while we were writing, and he had like this cool beat going on. And so he laid down the beat, and I grabbed my guitar and I kind of started riffing on what you hear in the single, like and he was like, "Oh, that's cool." So we had this really fun collaborative process. And then Brett, our third writer, he's the one that came up with the title Straight Shot. And so trying to make that to where it was badass and yet kept a feminine quality, because a song like Straight Shot can be, super masculine really quick and just be, big tough man. So to have the feminine side with the badass side, I'm so proud of the single.
I mean, because that's who you are and you don't hide that at all. But I'm so glad that you're able to, even while working with men, you're still able to reciprocate that in your music.
Absolutely. It's a male dominated industry, and I write with and work with 95% men, not because I don't want to work with women, but we're hard to find.
Yeah.
And, you have to, when you're in the room collaborating with men, you have to assert your femininity into that and make sure that it doesn't just get, completely glossed over with masculine energy. It's like, look, I know that, I've got a hard brand and a hard image, I'm a woman in black, but I am still a woman, and I'm still, I have a soft side, and I always want that to be intermingled with the badassery. So
yes, I'm so glad you do. And I did want to touch on something else when it comes to your collaborations and your songwriting. The last time we talked about Damn Sandwich, that was written with a legendary remind me, it was
Whispering Bill Anderson.
Whispering Bill, that's right. And how do you go from that to a hip hop artist? Do you always write with people that are so just opposite of you?
I will write with anyone who has a great idea and, that has great creative energy. And sometimes, you can find that in a local karaoke bar, and sometimes you find it in a legend that is gracious enough to let you in the room with them. It just depends on the idea and the energy.
Yeah, that is just, I'm so glad, because that's also how we avoid music becoming stale.
That's right. That's right. Jumping in a room with somebody that is, completely opposite of you in nature, as long as you can, maintain being you while being influenced by people around you, it's going to always keep your music fresh. It's going to keep evolving. And hopefully that's going to carry me into a long career of interesting and relevant music.
Absolutely. Well, we've got to hit you with it now, and then we'll be back with Jordan Rayner. A lot to catch up on, so please don't go anywhere. And here is the brand new single debut on Maverick 100.9. It's Straight Shot. Due to copyright, Brian Broadcasting is not licensed to air this single for you in podcast form, but you can now find it anywhere that you stream and download music. And today's interview continues now. You heard it here first on Maverick 100.9. That was the brand new single from Jordan Rayner and Straight Shot. And I've got Jordan here with me, and we hadn't got to catch up in a while. We didn't even get to catch up when we were in the same room together for 2 nights straight back in March. Yep. What kind of bull is that?
Well, it's the kind of bull where we were working. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You won the New Faces show this year, which meant you got to perform at the awards show. We do this every single year. And tell me what that was like for you, because I bet that was an uptick in attention.
It was. And if you know anything about me, I love attention. So the fact we got an uptick in that was a happy night. So I'm fairly new to the Texas music, country music scene, as far as being involved in radio on that level. So this past year, I was in the New Faces show, but the year before that, I attended it just as a spectator, and I watched the New Faces show take place, and I thought, oh man, how cool is that? That is so amazing. And I had no idea that the very next year I'd be on that stage myself. And, hate me or love me for it, but Corliss, I hate to lose.
I know.
I know you
win.
Do. And so, knowing that there was something to be won that night, I definitely pulled out all the stops, came in guns blazing, and came in intent on walking out a winner. And I guess everybody enjoyed it enough to vote me in, and I won the thing. So there you go.
I know I did. I had a great time getting to watch you, not only getting to watch you, but getting to see you interact with other artists as well is always so much fun for me. So I thought that was darn cool, but it only led you to even more. So the process actually started last year of you becoming a voice contestant.
That's right. So, as you're probably aware at this point, I just had my blind audition air 2 weeks ago for season 24 of The Voice. I got a 4-chair turn, and I'm on the first ever Team Reba.
Which, please explain to the people why. That is so perfect, because not only did you pick your audition song before you knew you were going to be auditioning for Reba.
Yeah, so the process, it's actually when you're auditioning for The Voice, it's a long process. There's a lot of preliminary interviews and just a lot of getting through certain checkpoints before you step onto that blind audition stage.
Yeah.
And so I was going through the process, and one of the early stages of the process is, what are like your top 5 songs that you would like to perform? And my number one choice was Fancy by Reba. And that was long before that they had announced that Reba was going to be a coach. So I was thinking, oh God, they're probably going to pick, maybe, George Strait or maybe Travis Tritt. I mean, who knows who they're going to put in Blake's place? Reba was not even a thought on my mind when I picked Fancy. And so I picked Fancy, and then about a few weeks later, they announced that Reba was going to be a coach. And I thought, that was my thought. I was like, there's no way I'm going to play Fancy in front of the queen herself, but stuck with it, and it turned out to be amazing.
And you're actually from the same town as Reba, if nobody can tell by your accent.
I do. I talk the same kind of funny that Reba does. We're from the same town, Atoka, Oklahoma.
Which I lived a while in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Yeah. So I recognize a lot of the Okie accents, which there are more than one of them. There's different regions. Yeah.
It's kind of like Europe. There's a lot of different, influences and dialects depending on which part of Oklahoma you're from. But we're from a pretty twangy part of Oklahoma.
And it literally pretty. I love the area, but I love all of Oklahoma. So
yeah,
that is just, it is really cool. I do kind of want to know where the guts came from, because you said you started to backtrack. Like, there's no way that I can sing her song for this, but you did. Yeah. What was that defining moment?
So the defining, yeah, I was terrified because it's, in country music, there's such a respect for the
Mhm.
pillars. You've got your Lorettas, your Dollies, your Rebas, the George Straits, where it's like, you have to be pretty bold to sing one of their songs to them.
Mhm.
And I'm not necessarily that bold, and I'm definitely not somebody that thinks, well, I just got no problem singing Fancy to Reba. She'll love it. To me, what made the decision was, hey, I'm a Southeast Oklahoman singing to another Southeast Oklahoman. And this is my way. Reba has entertained me for so many years and she has touched my heart for so many years. This was my chance to turn the table on her and say, let me try to give that experience back to you in any way I can. And that's why I chose to stick with it.
They say don't meet your heroes. I have always said that is bull. That is complete
Right.
bull.
Yep. Yep, I agree. I tell you what, man, getting to know Reba over this process has been everything I'd hope it would be. She is everything you hope she is and think she is, and then some.
Yeah. And I have never heard any differently from anyone. That woman is exactly the person that we have all looked up to our entire lives. So
That's exactly right.
it's always good to get that reassurance. Now, I did watch the argument part because it was a 4-chair turn.
Yep.
Was there ever a moment where you kind of like, because they were pretty convincing,
Hmm.
was there ever a point where you were like, dang, maybe I will work with one of these other artists other than Reba?
So Reba was obviously a very given
Yeah.
choice considering, all the factors. However, I was surprised at the other three coaches making it difficult because I thought, man, my mind will be made up. If Reba turns a chair, that's it. But, part of the TV show is, they air a very small fraction of the entire conversation with the coaches. That's actually about a 30-minute conversation that they whittle down to 2 minutes. And so I had a lot of time talking with the coaches and John Legend particularly
That's who
really
I was thinking you would go for.
I was so drawn to him because he and I connected in that moment, artist to artist, and he said some things. I won't repeat them because they weren't aired, and that's kind of,
Mhm.
you don't. But he said some things that really struck a chord, and I realized that he recognized the artist that I am, and I thought, man, for a second, being on his team might really be an advantage just because he respects me so much. But in the end, there was really only one choice, and it was Reba.
That's true. Hey, who knows? Maybe someday, maybe you will get to know John Legend a little bit
Yeah.
more. You'll, like we were just talking about, those different influences that go into
Right,
your music and make it so fresh.
right. Yeah.
That could be another path that you walk down. And I love your path. You are one of
Thank you.
those artists that I cannot disagree with, no matter what, whether it's your attitude, your kindness, your boldness. I know you said, well, I'm not that bold. Yes, you are. And I love you for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it definitely takes, some guts. Even if you have a good reason to do what you're doing, it still takes some shebbles, as I call it, she-balls. I call it shebbles.
Shovel.
Yeah. So it definitely took some guts, and I dug deep and I found them. So, and I'm thankful that I did because this experience so far has been unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, I want everybody, please support my friend Jordan Rayner. Obviously, we have been a lover of hers for quite some time on Maverick. I am so excited for the rest of the world to get to know you as well as we have.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for being a friend and a supporter of my music. I've enjoyed getting to know you as well and look forward to a long future together.
You betcha. Y'all go download Straight Shot Jordan Rayner right now. Follow her, and we'll be catching up with her hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.